That's not good. That is fuel.
Now get the cards, the charts from my generation. I'll take the come on, let's get it on. Get this together and do it all. They say nothing's forever, and they refuse to see the change in me. Why won't they?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is springtime. This bitch is coming back. Over the winter, I didn't get to do near as much stuff as I wanted to, but car's been on jack stands all winter. The last couple weeks I went through, I serviced the transmission, changed the oil, serviced the rear end, changed the plugs, fixed a couple minor things that were broke last year that I kind of did band-aid fixes on just to make it to the next week. Went through and fixed all those the correct way. There's still a couple little things I need to work on. Car still needs a gas pedal after last year when I broke the throttle cable. I had to put a low car cable on it in Ohio. I like that cable better, but it doesn't work with the stock gas pedal, so I still got to get the correct gas pedal to make that all happy. But other than that, the car's pretty much ready to go. I'm working on building spark plug wires right now, and then we'll get this thing fired up. So if you remember last year, I had a B&M Quicksilver shifter. The way that they do it, the rod that comes in there is very thin. It's just made of pot metal, and then they braze a thread to the top of it. That snapped off. Last year I bought a replacement one. It was quite a bit shorter, and I put a T-handle on it because I was pretty sure my pistol grip is what caused, all the pressure to snap it off. So I switched to a T-handle, but it was way down here, and I'd never really liked it. So BBT Fabrications in Mahomet, Illinois. You may have seen some of their cars if you watched any of the Barrett Jackson Builder stuff, or if you've gone to SEMA, you've probably seen one of their cars. But they made me this out of a piece of billet stainless, so it was just a block of stainless steel, and they machined it. We were going to do aluminum, but then they decided that might be a little too soft for down there in the shifter. So they made me this. We beefed it up quite a bit, and then they drilled and tapped it for the same threads that go into the shifter knob. So the pistol grip's coming back. I cut a piece of all thread, and I'm going to try to use one jam nut. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to take some blue Loctite and put it on the threads, and then put the all thread down there. It should lock the threads into the shifter, and then I can just screw the knob on and off, but we'll see if it holds up or not. The best way to do this would probably be to put 2 jam nuts on here and have one jammed against this and one jammed against the knob. I'm going to try to do the thread lock and see if I can just put the stud in there with the thread lock and then use the jam nut against the shifter knob. I think that looks the cleanest rather than have 2 nuts between this and this. So yeah, we're gonna try that out and see how it works this year. Alright, so that's basically what it looks like. The Loctite's in there, and then I put the jam nut against the shifter knob. Pretty straight. It's not as straight as I would like it, but it's canted just a little bit towards me, which is okay. So hopefully after Loctite dries, the stud doesn't move out of there. I should be able to race like normal. So we'll just see how it works. Yeah, if I have to, I'll take that back off. I'll put 2 jam nuts on here. I'm just trying to not do that unless I absolutely have to, because it's going to make between the two look pretty ugly, I think. But with just the one nut under there, when you're looking from outside the car or anything, it looks kind of like one piece. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap here because of the nut, but it definitely looks way cleaner than if I just had 2 jam nuts put in there. So just kidding. When I was playing around with it, I mean, the Loctite's not set, but blue Loctite's not going to hold that well. And just with me playing around with it, it was coming loose. So I was like, I tightened it down and then started playing with it. So the threads were kind of jammed against each other. And it still wasn't taking any pressure at all to loosen those up. So double nutted it. I used this nice round finishing nut on the bottom, so it looks a little cleaner. And then the hex nut's still jammed up against the knob. But it should work pretty good. Alright, so I got the fans unplugged, the fuel pump unplugged, and the ignition unplugged. So basically what we're going to do is crank the engine over, make sure we got oil pressure before we start trying to fire it up. So alright, false alarm. Battery was a little dead, so we'll try this again. Alright, we have oil pressures. So I am going to check the oil one last time now that the oil's all ran up into the engine. And we will plug everything up and try to crank it. Alright, so now when I turn the key on, we should hear the fuel pump and the fans. That's not good. That is fuel. So the fuel puddle was caused by a bad fuel pump. It was a mystery pump that I had pulled off of a carbureted car a couple of years ago. It worked fine, so I kept it in case I would need it. Last year I killed another mechanical fuel pump and I got tired of changing them all the time, so I switched the car over to an electric fuel pump, redid the entire fuel system, and I mounted the electric fuel pump back here. That failed. Not this one. The one that was on here failed. And it was leaking out of the plate down here, and it was basically a Holly Blue pump knockoff, I think. But I talked to the guys at my local speed shop. They seem to like this Mallory one a lot, so we put this on here. One thing I did have to play around with though is it has a bypass valve down here, and it's basically a fuel pressure regulator. I have a fuel pressure regulator on the front of the car, so it made it a little bit of a hindrance, but what I did was I adjusted this one all the way tight back here, and then I adjusted the fuel pressure based off of the front one. So I adjusted the fuel pressure up here with this regulator, and just adjusted it off of the fuel pressure gauge. I was right at 6 1/4 psi, which is what I like to run on a carburetor. 7's kind of the max, and then you start pushing through the needle and seat. So I run it at 6 1/4 just so it's safe, and then if the engine starts, if the engine hesitates or something, the pressure spikes, it doesn't overpower the needle and seat. But yeah, it's about ready to go. And then in here, excuse the mess, I've been doing some winter cleanup, but this thing, when I got it, there was some wires up here showing, so I used some liquid electrical tape, which worked nicely. It still hasn't cracked or anything, so it did its job. But this base plate, the black stuff is rubber, so that's not anything coming out of the fuel system. That's just dirt on the outside. But this cover down here was leaking, so that's no good. And it will go in my trash pile with my old mechanical fuel pump that took a shit on me again. I need to rob the fittings off of that and just throw it away. But yeah, so we'll get the car going this year, and this video may or may not have, I need to take it to the car wash and clean it, and my girlfriend wants to go for a ride in it, so I'm going to probably add that into the video as well. But first test drive went good. We'll drive it a couple more times before we go to the track, but it's all looking good for here. All right, so first drive was a success. Went and took it out in the country a little bit. Drove her probably 5-ish miles. Just wanted to get it hot, check the transmission, and make sure it was full. About half a quart low, but that's not going to hurt it. So I put half quart in, so it should be good for next time. The next time I drive it and get it completely hot, I will check it again, make sure it's all good. But yeah, it's like it rained yesterday. Once I fix the fuel pump issue, then everything else went fairly smoothly, so I'll take it. Sometimes it's a fight getting this thing running for the first time of the year. Sometimes it goes super easy, so I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm glad to be able to drive it again. Glad it's nice out, and we're gonna go racing as much as we can this year. I am taking a break from points for bracket racing. I'm wanting to go a different avenue with the car. I'm wanting to do a cage. I'm wanting to put nitrous on it. I'm wanting to build another motor. But yeah, all that stuff will come. It's just a matter of getting this thing where it needs to be. This year I'm going to try to find some stuff that the car fits in for heads up or index classes. Try to find out what I like the most, where I like to race, all that kind of stuff, and bring you guys along with. Alright, so that's going to end this video off. I went to a Cars and Coffee on Sunday. It was a good time. There's another one coming up this Saturday. I plan on taking the car to. As of now, I'm planning on going to Dragon Main on May 17th, and then there's a heads-up race on May 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend. I won it last year, so I'm going to try to make it this year. Got some chicken going, and yeah, so I'll keep posting updates and stuff, and thanks for watching.